Well, hello everyone, and welcome to race meeting number 4 of the Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge, Great Britain. It comes at you from Oulton Park this time around, this wonderful racetrack here in Cheshire. My name is Conry Maddock, and this time I'm joined by Ewan O'Leary on the co-commentary. Paul Smith, unfortunately, having to step aside due to some illness, and he'll be absolutely livid that he's going to have to miss this round, Ewan. But we've got you here, and I'm sure you can carry the torch for now.
Oh, hope so, because I'm the only one here. So yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to it. I've kept my eye on the first few rounds of this championship and really enjoyed it. Very different rounds, I think, in so many different ways. I mean, last time out at Silverstone, really different to the previous week at Thruxton, just in the terms of the amount of incidents, I'd probably say, from what we saw. And then see the week before that, obviously you've got first round stuff, which sometimes doesn't apply to the rest of the season. But we've seen some consistent themes, as I'm sure we'll talk about. And yeah, it's been fun so far. Looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is a very, very short season here, week after week after week. We're on race meeting number 4. That's our penultimate one before we get our finale at Brands Hatch. So it's been a very, very quick season here. Not a lot of room for error for your drivers up and down the field in the 2 different classes that we'll have here today. As a little bit of a reminder, if you're just about joining us at this point in the season, here's a reminder of how the format works. Well, we'll get ourselves a lone qualifying session. Drivers to get themselves 2 laps to set themselves a flying lap, and they'll get 10 minutes to do so. Then we'll head in towards race number 1, last 30 minutes. Then we'll head straight into race number 2, again, another 30 minutes. And the grid for that is based on the results of race 1. We are running with fixed setups here today, which hopefully evens out the playing field a little bit. And of course, we will have standing starts, which is always tricky when it comes to a multi-class affair. And speaking of classes, we've got the Pro class. Those are going to be driving the Porsche GT3 Cup cars. And then we've got the AM category in the Cayman GT4 Club Sports. In terms of prizes, the top 3 from each class will win a half-day driving experience at the Porsche Experience Centre at Silverstone. The Pro drivers will, of course, take part in the 911 experience, and the AM drivers will take part in the Cayman experience, driving cars that are very similar to the ones that they're driving in the sim. With regards to the points situation, though, it looks pretty clear as far as Pro is concerned. Will Eatwell 149 at the top of the order, quite far ahead of Ryan McKelliff. And actually, if Will Eatwell scores a couple of points over McKelliff today, then he will be crowned the champion 1 race meeting early. Then you've got Oliver Stone in P3, for Aidan Carter P4, with Kieran Sharp in P5. Things still tight, of course, for 3rd, and that final prize-paying position in Pro. Then you've got your AM category. Things are looking very tight here indeed, in and amongst the top 3. It's Matt Jordan taking the championship lead at the moment, with Ben Shalcraft in P2, with Adam Greaveson there in P3. Those further back, you've got Carl Chase and Jonathan Ogden. But that's the look at the top 5 for each class as we get straight on. No hanging around here in the Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge Great Britain. We get ourselves into qualifying. The early lap times have already gotten themselves up onto the board. Oliver Stone by 1/1000th of a second over Ryan McKelliff, pole in Pro at the moment, and Ben Shalcraft in AM. Second in the championship coming into the day, currently provisional pole in that AM category as well, but Graveson's not too far behind.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always been close in the AM category in terms of qualifying in the early parts of the race in this season so far. Hopefully that will remain the case here today as well, but we'll wait and see. It could be quite an important session, this, to be honest, given the way that overtaking could be around here. We've seen many races in the past where it's been almost impossible, so the multi-class traffic should break that up at least, but it could still be tricky, and the starting positions of these drivers will be very, very important, really. Well, already with a strong banker lap there at the top of the session, with still half of it left.
Yeah, absolutely. As we see Oliver Stone head his way across the line now, 1:35.890, not quite the time of Will Eatwell's 1:35.445. as we are running aboard with David Biggerdike then towards the very back end of the lap here at Oulton Park. Such a fantastic circuit, but it comes with a danger in that there's not really a lot of room to maneuver out there in a lot of portions of the racetrack. That will make cause some issues potentially with some lap traffic as the races draw to a close. But Biggerdike heading his way across the line now, and actually a pretty good lap time from Biggerdike, up into P2, front row start right at the moment for Biggerdike. But he does slide down as Matthew Jordan, our championship leader in AM, coming into today, goes up onto that front row instead.
Yeah, the AMs are going to be absolutely fascinating to watch here today as we get towards the end of the championship, because their championship is so close, as we just saw with that rundown. 7 points covering the top three, and Matt Jordan's back-to-back victory at Silverstone last week really putting him in the driver's seat there, although it is minor points he's got over the rest of the field. The pro class is a lot more clear, and as with any penultimate round, you can win the title on the penultimate round in any situation, unless there are more points available for the final round. But it's much more likely that this man will be champion by the end rather than any of the other three who are in the AM class.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really, well, he's in a fantastic position at the moment. It's you know, he can just sort of chill at the moment, and I know the risk in telling a racing driver to chill. They're never really chill as long as a race win is on the cards, but there's not as much pressure on his shoulders as there otherwise would be if it was slightly more competitive at this point in the season. McAuliffe, he's been very, very quick. However, he's got into a few incidents here and there that have really put a damper on his hopes, and well, he's hoping for a miracle here at Oulton Park here today to have any chance.
Yeah, it certainly is, and you know, just needs a clean race really, I think is the key. We've seen so many times this season good speed not translating into actually a good race finish, and that's going to be the real key here. Even if it's just to build for the future, try and string a couple of those together, then that would be worthwhile tonight as Jordan moves up to second, or at least gets closer to pole, I should say. 4 thousandths the current gap. It continues to get closer in AM.
As tight as you like down in the Caymans. Fantastic stuff indeed. Great performance so far from Biggerdike. He hasn't really been at the top of the timing screens too often over the course of this season. He's had a pretty fraught couple of races, couple of DNFs. He has had a best finish of second in our second race meeting in the first race there, but otherwise it's been a tough time for Biggerdike. So hopefully this qualifying session means positive things for the future for that number 13 car. But we are quickly winding down here in qualifying. Here's Mike Rayner currently on a bit of a lap there in the pro category. But I'm just kind of fascinated with how close some of these times are, especially in that AM category. It's I mean, that championship has been close since pretty much from the get-go, and it's looking like it's not going to stop now.
Yeah, exactly. You mentioned at the start that it is a quite short season, and that is one of the advantages, that you really do get the likelihood of a close season maintaining all the way through like this for a long time. I mean, imagine if this was 20 rounds, you wouldn't even bat an eyelid if it was this close after 3 rounds or so, because it just wouldn't matter. But the fact that there are only a couple of rounds to go is just it's great in that sense, that it will stay so close and is likely to. As Mike Rayner goes over the line here, we'll see whether there's any improvement at all for the driver who was 2 seconds off the pole at that time and still is 2.3 off in 15th.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like the majority, if not all, drivers are pretty much done with their qualifying sessions here at the moment. So it'll just give us a little bit of time just to compose ourselves before we get the starting grid for race number 1 here at Oulton Park. Of course, with the championships being the way they are, pro looking pretty much settled, AM looking very much not. It should be an intriguing affair here at Oulton Park for our 4th race meeting of the championship. Well, here's the starting grid then. Ryan McAuliffe takes pole position and the 2 bonus points that come with that, remember, for this first race. Then we got Will Eatwell in second. Then you got Oliver Stone starting in third with George Tyler in 4th. Then Gordon Marshall will start in 5th place with Aidan Carter in 6th. Luke Andrews will line up in 7th with Dave Martin in 8th. Ben Smith starts 9th with Ned Worthington in 10th. Andrew Pike will start 11th with Luca Monroe starting 12th. Matthew Sheraton will start 13th with Alistair Pollock in 14th. Mike Rayner starts 15th and Lewis Benny rounds out the final row on the grid. Then looking at your AM class, it was very, very close down here. Just 4 thousandths of a second separating Ben Chalcraft as pole position and Matthew Jordan as championship leader. Fantastic stuff between those two. Then you get David Biggerdike starting on the inside of the second row. Then you got Matthew Clark starting in 4th. Then you got Jake Andrews in 5th with Carl Chase rounding out the top 6 drivers in AM. Then you got Adam Graveson. He would have hoped for a little bit better there, starting in P7. He's 3rd in the championship at the moment, with Ashley Toft in P8, with Jamie Bardwell in P9, with Jacob Jenner P10, Harley Byrne in 11th, with Ben Siever in 12th. And then the last couple of rows in AM, it's Shiraz Khan, it's Nick Scott, Roy Weller, and Gabriel Yilmaz. Well, that's the grid top to bottom for both classes here at Oulton Park. It's a tricky, tricky grid to get yourself started off of here. It's a bit undulating, and these cars, especially the Cup cars, are not the easiest to start with the clutches either. As we go here at Oulton Park, what a start it is from Will Leetwell from 2nd place. He's going to be able to get himself to the inside for Old Hull Corner for the first time and getting himself up into the race lead for the first time of asking as well. Fantastic start from Will Eatwell. Meanwhile, you got further back, you got the AM categories trying to sort themselves out as well. They all get themselves pretty much line astern down in towards Cascade, although there's a big off in the background there. Contact with the Armco barrier. Not sure exactly who that was. Bright yellow car spun back around as Gabriel Yimlaz, Roy Weller could be, as we get ourselves all set for this first lap. It's can be a chaotic start here. It's not the most chaotic start we've seen in this series so far, but everyone getting themselves along well. In AM, it's still Ben Chalcraft that leads from Matthew Jordan, then David Biggerdike, the top 3 all as they were.
Side by side for 3rd place in the pro category as well. George Tyler and Gordon Marshall in towards the chicane, and it's very tight through here. You see that for the first time tonight in that exchange, but George Tyler is now 3rd, Gordon Marshall and then Aidan Carter rounding out the top 5. But yeah, not the most chaotic start it could have been here at Oulton Park, but not the cleanest either. That was a big smack on the wall for whoever that was further down the field at the run down the hill on the opening lap. Thankfully that was at the back though, so nobody else really got involved.
Yeah, absolutely. Just just that one car happening the instant, I think, as it's side by side between the 22 and the 60. Sorry, the 12 and the 68 here. This is Ned Worthington involved in this, and Oliver Stone still side by side on the way down the pit straight there in towards Old Hall Corner. Ned Worthington on the outside will be given the space. We're riding on board with the 4 of Dave Martin as the 2 ahead still go wheel to wheel down the hill. Now in towards Cascade on the 2nd lap as Ned Worthington washes out, and underneath both of them go. Worthington losing a lot of ground.
That was a real big slide and a good save actually, not to let the car go all the way around completely, but not a good for position, that's for sure. Outside the top 10 now for the first time as they dive into turn 5, all nose to tail. There's also been trouble back here in the AM class. Matt Jordan has been off. Big news in the AM class.
What has happened to Matt Jordan? Fallen down the fields here. There's Adam Graveson up into 6th place now as a result of whatever happened. That is going to be a big hit to Matthew Jordan's championship hopes, you would have thought, coming into this. It's a bit of a weird one. Let's have a look. Oh, just loses it a little bit down the inside, and out into the grass goes Jordan.
Yeah, so tried their best to avoid him. Is it David Biggerdike who slid on the way down the hill? You know, as I say, did a decent job of trying to avoid, and actually looking in his mirrors very attentively, actually, was Jordan to see that was happening, and he tried to avoid it, but in the end, that actually just, well, I suppose instead of spinning him around, it just put him in the grass, which helps, but even so, not ideal. This is off the start. So the yellow car rejoins or tries to, and that is a huge hit on the wall. It's actually after an initial incident coming off of turn 1, but look at this.
Oof. Yeah, again, I think we get at least one of these every single race meeting where we see a big accident like that, and then we're very thankful that this is a simulated environment rather than the real world one, because definitely it would have been a red flag situation if that happened in full metal racing. But benefits of the simulator mean that we can continue on under green flag racing. Meanwhile, fast repair being gained, I think, by David Biggerdike there as he returns to the circuit.
And that's going to be his saviour in the next 26 minutes. Thankfully, there is one so that he can get back into the race. But you can't afford real trouble in one of these races. They're too close, they're too short in half an hour. And at this circuit, track position is too precious. You can see it from here. The group effectively comes all the way back from George Tyler, who's starting to get away a little bit in third place, but Gordon Marshall certainly isn't in fourth place, and it comes right the way down here. We're following the guys now just outside the top 10, and it's still the same single file, but until they get into traffic, I'm struggling to see where there's going to be obvious places to actually make overtakes. I guess waiting for mistakes up ahead might have to be the port of call. Mikulicz, though, certainly giving it a go.
Yeah, down the pit straight they come, up the hill, across those grid spots. McAuliffe looking towards the outside here. Well, not a lot of space given between the two of them as they fling their way into Old Hall Corner here. McAuliffe looking for the speed and the traction off. Doesn't quite get himself alongside. Does now as they descend down the hill. In through the left-hander. McAuliffe looking racy, looking very, very fast at this stage as Ewell has a bit of a bumble up over the curb there. Maybe opens up the opportunity in towards the Shell Oil hairpin. Just coming up, that's the next big braking zone. McAuliffe around the outside. Can he complete this move on camber a little bit? You can carry the speed somewhat, but he loses out.
Just about edged out by Eatwell there, who was playing a bit of a risky game, it must be said. If Mikulicz had stayed there a little bit more assertively, then he could have got spun around the other way, Eatwell, and that's a position he absolutely can't afford to get himself into tonight. He wants to seal the title, you'd imagine, a race early or around early, and getting involved in an incident would certainly not allow that. A bit more contact here. Mikulicz certainly giving it a go, but so far unsuccessful in making this overtake.
Yeah, and this little period of battling just allowing George Tyler to catch onto the back of them a little bit here. It is relatively difficult to get your overtakes done here at Oulton Park in these sort of speeds and category of cars. So it's going to be tough indeed for McAuliffe to be able to do anything about Eatwell. And Eatwell, as you know, from a historical point of view throughout this series, he's been an absolute monster in terms of the defense as well.
It's certainly inviting others in as well here, which is another factor of this battle, and it can only go on like this really if Eatwell and Mikulicz continue. I get the feeling that whoever enters the traffic though first might well just go on and win the race. It obviously depends how it falls, but there could be a real advantage to hitting the traffic first here, and maybe that's the urgency that Mikulicz is showing at the moment. Also, he doesn't want to let Eatwell relax, I suppose, which would be very easy to do here in this situation. Relax with a driver so close behind you because it is so difficult to overtake, but he just looks quicker at the moment and just can't find his way through. It must be very frustrating, but that's racing at Oulton Park.
It really is as they get themselves into the Britain chicane there. Again, on towards the back straight, across Hilltop they come. Tyler gaining on the both of them as they get themselves in towards his slops now. Those immovable tyre barriers right on the curbs there. We still need to petition iRacing to make them movable, but there we go. As we get, we've already got ourselves through Neckerbrook now and in towards the final sector. But with the onboard here with McAuliffe at the moment, even if he takes the race win here, you know, Eatwell, if he gets these two solid performances here today, it's pretty much done. So this is more of a point of pride, right? Yeah, I think so. With an added side effect, I suppose, that this puts you even closer to the championship, which is probably the main aim. But even so, it is a very enticing prospect here, getting this victory over your main rival anyway, despite the taking out the equation the championship implications that it would therefore have. But he's clearly under pressure. I think Mikulicz is actually quite a lot faster than Eatwell actually at the front at the moment. Maybe that's just because Eatwell is looking in his mirrors and defending, but he does look
like he's the one on the back foot, and haven't seen that too often this season.
Absolutely, they're coming up to their first bit of lap traffic as well. One of the GT4s just on the exit of the Shell Oil corner. Not the most ideal place to be, but he does get away with it. Both of them clear on the way in towards Britain. But yeah, it's going to be little bits of traffic here and there pretty much constantly now until the end of this race. 21 minutes left to go here of this one. And again, a shot to the back bumper from McAuliffe. I think you are right, Ewan, in that he is under clear air conditions a decent amount faster at the moment, but the nature of this track just means there's not an easy way through, as Ned Worthington, big lockup.
Seems to really be struggling with that rear end as Oulton. They're all on the same setup, so it's not something he's been tinkering with. It's clearly something he's just struggling with in these first 10 minutes. That's the second time we've seen him go even half around, or that time the whole way round. But further out front, Equal is now into the traffic first with McAuliffe behind. And will this provide an advantage? It's either going to go one of two ways, I think. He's going to come out the other side of this traffic, having passed Ben Charcroft with at least a second over the rest of the field, or he's going to come out not in the lead, because it's going to be very busy in traffic in the next few moments, and it's make or break really for this race.
Yeah, absolutely, they're able to catch that one in the right place as well. Same with George Tyler in third place behind as well. Is there going to be a lunge in towards Shell Oil hairpin for McAuliffe? No, as Equal covers off that inside pretty well, hugs that apex all the way around, and keeps himself ahead for now. Here's a replay of what happened to Matthew Cheverton. Oh, big impact indeed, and back across the road as well. Thankfully, no one collected in that. That would have been a catastrophic instant if someone had arrived on the scene in the wrong place at the wrong time.
And Cheverton's car looked bad enough as it was as well. Absolutely wrecked out of that crash, unfortunately, and was not going to be steering that car anywhere the way those front wheels were bouncing up and down. So unfortunately, that is an early end to race number one, it looks like. Unless see it comes back out again. It's certainly the end of a prospect of a good result from race number one, which is a bit of a shame for Cheverton, who we know to be a very good driver, but is not showing so in this race so far. In these first 11 minutes, as he will just relieve some of the pressure on him at the moment. McAuliffe not quite as close as he has been.
Now, little bit of breathing room established here for Eatwell, which is going to be very helpful indeed. Not having to look in his wing mirrors so much coming down into some of these corners as he would do previously. And of course, there is the potential for McAuliffe to be eating up his tyres a little bit more as the race goes on. But you got the battle going on down at the bottom of your screen here. More pro order places being swapped around. Belford 9th in Pro, so this is around about Luke Monroe, Andrew Pike, Kieran Sharp, Oliver Stone sort of area down there. Big trainer cars here for the mid-pack.
Yeah, it is. It's the biggest group in the field as far as I can work out as well. Certainly in the Pro field it is, and that is making for a very lively battle at the moment, very close to one another as they come through the hairpin there. And look at that, crawling all over the back of the Porsche in front, having a look down the inside. Oh dear, and the two teammates stacking up on top of each other there. That's Kieran Sharp followed by Andrew Pike. Sharp was so tentative into that first chicane that he almost was rear-ended by his teammate there.
Yeah. Careful, easy does it, as Luca Monroe going to be coming under threat here by Kieran Sharp down into the chicane, but again, it's not really an overtaking opportunity coming down through here. You just have to wait and bide your time. A good exit, though, off of Knickerbrook from Kieran Sharp might result in something in towards the final sector. We'll just have to wait and see. He's following very closely indeed, but again, there's going to be no way through just right now. But it does seem that Kieran Sharp and in turn Andrew Pike have the best of the pace here at the moment in terms of this train. But again, bit of a roadblock ahead.
There is Oliver Stone's view of it as well. A lot to look at in front at the moment. He's got the best view in the house at this battle. Another look down towards turn number one. Monroe with a very tight line, and surely this is going to be a decent chance now for Kieran Sharp to have a go down the other side of the hill. He's going to be caught. Contact! It was always going to be tight as they come down Cascades there, and Sharp finds the wall really hard.
Big impact with the barrier. The aftermath continues, though, as Oliver Stone tries to make some progress over Andrew Pike there. A little bit of lap traffic involved in this one as well. As it's just big instant coming down into there. It's always awkward as you go side by side out of turn 1 and in towards turn 2 and 3. One little tap will just send one or both cars off in a catastrophic incident.
Yeah, I must say I wasn't expecting it to be quite that dramatic, but that was seriously high speed for Sharp. Look at the way he goes over the curb there. Goodness me. And he tries to lock it down and cannot stop himself from going straight headfirst into the wall in a really hard hit there at Cascades. That was much like what we saw at the first part of the race and in the first lap in the AM class with the Cayman. So there was a big hit down there, and unfortunately there's a big hit for Sharp as well in the middle of the race. That was just a legacy of going up over the curbs here. There you see it again. He's just too far over. He's almost on the grass with the right side tyres. Launches himself over there, and that kind of speed, you haven't got a chance really. I know that he hits Munro as well, but I don't think that's the main reason for him going off. The curb is by far a bigger player in that, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't really have control when you have more than one tyre off the ground, as we see side by side between Stone and Moreau once again here. And, well, this time it is Stone that comes out on top in terms of that particular battle. But it's, but yeah, a lot of stuff happening in the middle of the pro order. Meanwhile, you've got Aidan Carter on the back of Gordon Marshall here at the moment as well. This is the battle for P4. Excuse me, it's battle for P5. Excuse me, it's Luke Andrews ahead of Aidan Carter here at this moment in time. It seems like the live timing is frozen just that little bit. But Aidan Carter continuing on a pretty good race so far. Obviously not as stellar as his last race meeting with a third and a second place, a double podium there. But he's looking to try and get himself up into that P3, that final prize-paying position in terms of the championship. Well, he's gaining points over Oliver Stone at the moment, who's currently in third place. So I would say this is looking like a good day so far for Carter.
Yeah, I'd say so. With this position, I think Carter's one of those drivers that will be fighting for that sort of final spot inside the top 3, and so just being around those other drivers who are in that conversation, like Oliver Stone, in fact just ahead of Stone at the moment. Kieran Sharp, who's just behind Carter by 3 points coming into today, and George Tyler, who's probably the other driver involved in that. Tyler's a bit further in front, but side by side for the lead meantime, the battle for the overall first place in the championship going head to head.
Oh, yes, and you can see the positions being swapped in AM as well. Matthew Clark dropping back through the order there. Carl Chase second, Matthew Jordan now in third place after recovering from the incident that he had a little bit earlier on in the race. It's all decided to sort of happen now, I suppose, in amongst your championship order. Battle for second still rages on. Chalcraft has really run away in AM. He said goodbye to pretty much everyone here, although Jordan's looking all over the back of Chase here, looking like the faster of the two at the moment.
Yeah, it's just for now, and Jordan is looking to rescue a damage limitation race, I think you'd call it, with Chalcraft leading the way. It's just got to sort of keep the others as close as possible, and with Brevson distanced a little bit, it's a good opportunity to just limit the damage as good as possible. Look down the inside of turn 1 again, and not a chance to go through there, but still 12.5 minutes on his side.
Absolutely, still plenty of time left in this race to sort all of this out. It's great to have so many battles for major positions in both classes here at Oulton Park. Great to see. Usually it's one or the other that we see, but not both at the same time. So fantastic experience for all involved. As you can see Carl Chase going for that ultra defensive inside line in towards Shallow corner there. You see that is seeming to be the favourite in terms of a defensive line into there, because that's really your only absolutely massive threat into that braking zone, right? So you just might as well position your car to the inside there, compromise your mid-corner speed a little bit, but make the move impossible. Yeah,
and it's one of the things of this circuit really, that there are places where that is sort of the way to defend. And it's a little bit unfortunate, really, because it does prevent us from seeing maybe as much side-by-side as we could have. around here, but it's a narrow circuit. So what else do we expect, I suppose? It can be very, very tricky on occasion, although if you see a mistake, it does make things a little bit easier. And there's the mistake. Munro, that is, going a little bit too deep, and that will be Andrew Pike going through. Munro in danger, dropping outside the top 10 now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a good run, at least so far in this race for Luca. Hasn't had the best of results so far this season, has not finished inside the top 10 whatsoever. And you can see Ned Wharton swinging here around the outside now as well, and Munro down another position.
That's a very good overtake, by the way, around the outside of the first part, get the inside at the second, and then you're on your way through. But again, shows you that it's not just the mistake itself, but it's all the corners that come after that as well. They just keep coming again and again and again, and if you're offline, then the driver behind you is very likely to make an overtake, and Munro will be pleased that that is the last car in that group, at least for the moment, and there's a bit of a gap then back to the rest of them of a couple of seconds or so before any more positions will be lost. But just needs to regather and realise there's still 10 minutes to go to get those places back, as we've got more short in the AM class.
David Big Knight's race goes from bad to worse, as he has a little bit of a off-track excursion coming through the first sector there, but the number 13 does rejoin the racetrack. Meanwhile, we got battle for P5 as well. Luke Andrews versus Aidan Carter in this situation, in amongst some of the lap traffic as well, which will be pretty constant for the final 10 minutes of this race. And let's see how these guys manage it, because that could be a make and break situation. You catch the traffic in the wrong place at the wrong time, and all of a sudden the car behind can really capitalize and just essentially slingshot themselves through. We haven't quite seen it so far this race, but it's always looming as a possibility over our drivers' heads.
Yeah, certainly is, as Andrews again just has a moment. It looks to me as if miscommunication on occasion between the pro and the AM drivers. They work out which side they should be going, especially through these straights that are not straights at Oulton Park, like that one that runs up towards Druids, for example. There's not really a racing line because it's flat out everywhere, but it can be a bit of miscommunication as Ryan McAuliffe is into the pit lane.
Ryan McAuliffe into the pit lane. Is that a penalty of some sort? No, he's going to come down in and get himself stopped. So not a drive-through penalty, but either way, felt the need to come down in. Very short stop indeed, and back out there. That's an interesting one. I'm not entirely sure what has gone on there. Absolutely
no idea what that could be about. I mean, it was probably the length of a fast repair, but why?
No meatball flag, I don't think.
No, I don't think so. So again, and this is just going back to the consistency thing and the stringing a race together thing that we've been talking about all season long from Ryan McAuliffe. No slower, I don't think, than Will Eatwell, and maybe on occasions, multiple occasions this season, actually quicker than the race leader and eventual winner of a lot of these races, Will Eatwell, 4 of them, in fact. Just no consistency, and that's why he's only won the other 2, and the other results are not podiums. So it's disappointing, but it's in line with the rest of the season, sadly.
Yeah, that does seem to be the case. Battle for P2 in the AM category, though. Matthew Jordan continuing to make inroads here on Carl Chase, but still finding no way through. Gets some good speed coming off the corner there. Coming across the start-finish line now. We'll get to the outside for Old Hall Corner. Turn number 1 here at Oulton Park. Can he swing it in and carry the momentum through to gift him the inside for Cascades? Maybe he's swinging it a little bit too much as he dips 2 tyres out into the grass there. Grass, the same colour as the car.
And he's not going to get that pass done, and time not on his side anymore, that's for sure. He's just got 7 minutes to go, and here he comes again on the way towards the fast left-hander. He's not going to go for it there. It would be very, very brave of him to have a dive at the left-hander there, but he doesn't go for it, and perhaps that is the more sensible option as well. He's got to do it sensibly, even though there is an urgency to get this pass done.
1 minute 30 to go. 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 1 min Yeah, it is. As you know, it's championship. It's quite high championship importance for Matthew Jordan here at the moment, because Shellcraft is leading and is one of the championship contenders, and Jordan can't really be affording to drop too many points to him, even though it's such a short season. We still can't be losing points here and there, as Jordan gets himself a good run coming off of Knickerbrook. Will draw himself to driver's left-hand side as they get in towards the back end of this lap through Clay Hill, getting up towards turn 15 at Druids. Looking good for Jordan. Can he carry the momentum through? Yes, he can. Immediately goes down towards the inside, and guess who's behind? It's the pro race leader.
And willing to stay behind with a bit of patience there, because there was some slight slower traffic defending there going on into the final quarter. Normally frowned upon and normally angering a race leader as well, but there's a couple of seconds in hand for Willie. Well, and there is no challenge from any close championship rivals either, so the urgency definitely gone out to the race leader. But the GT4 drivers are just trying to let it all happen, as Jordan again looks down the inside on Shellcraft, but couldn't, chase on Jordan, I should say, goes the other way, and again Jordan stays in front this time.
Yeah, and now Tyler looking around the outside in terms of the pro car trying to come through on that one there. So just has to be a little bit patient with it. Of course, Tyler's not involved in an active battle here at the moment, so he can afford to be perhaps that little bit more patient with regards to getting past these pieces of lap traffic. But we're on board with Ashley Toft at the moment, who we haven't talked about too much, but he's sort of been on the outside looking into this one. Looking to be, running pretty well in the race so far. Potentially a podium on the cards if he can find a way through on Carl Chase within the final 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's not out of the question at the moment, because when you are passed like that, there is a degree of loss of momentum, and also gives that bit of belief to the next car in line that it can be done, and indeed might be in the next few moments on that driver in front. But let's wait and see. It would certainly help Matt Jordan get away, and he already holds about 3/4 of a second as they go over the line.
And actually, for Ashley Toft, even if he finishes 4th, that would still be by far his best finish of the season. Well, not by far, but it will be his best finish of the season, because he did have a P5 in the first race meeting, but it's sort of been P9s and outside the top 10 from that point forwards. So it would be a good recovery in this penultimate race meeting for Toft to be able to get this one done. But it's all looking a bit congested here at the moment, and Toft tries to go for the aggressive move, although Carl Chase misses the apex first time of asking, but no opportunity for Toft to try and capitalize on that one coming off the corner. Here comes more pro cars trying to spoil the battle as well. Yeah,
they're all involved now. The main part of the pro field coming through, really, when the leader's coming through, it can feel very much like there just is no traffic, but further towards the midfield, it is a little bit more congested and does have a bit more of a bearing of the race. But I think this track's quite a good length, actually, for one of these races, because the pro cars are just coming past sort of towards the end of the race, if you like. They're not, lapping them too many times if the circuit was too short, and they're not lapping them like we did see for some drivers at Silverstone. Some not going a lap down to some of the pros in that race. That's not happening either. It's a good length for late drama, which so far we've escaped. At least the leaders in both classes have.
Yeah, that currently seems to be the case, but you know how the curse of the commentator is a thing, right? It's can happen. But looking like slightly more relaxed, especially in pro, for the final couple of minutes of this race. It seems like those gaps have sort of stretched themselves out a little bit, especially as they've been dealing with bits of GT4 traffic here and there. So that's kind of a bit more understandable. But here down in Am, still a bit of a train going on. P2, P3, P4, all within the same postcode here with 2 minutes to go. But none really looking that close enough to make a move just yet, though.
This is awkward for Carl Chase at the moment in 91, because that's not Matt Jordan just in front. It's a blinking lap car, which is especially irritating at the moment because it doesn't quite know whether to go past it, whether to just avoid it. How do I get past it if I'm going to? It's especially when you can't see where they are. Very, very difficult to know what to do here, but and for the faster class as well. Look at that, Dave Martin coming down the inside of both, and now Carl Chase try and follow through. This is getting very, very awkward, but Chase does survive.
Yeah, absolutely. Car blinking out probably at just the right moments there for us to not have a catastrophic incident down in towards Hislops. But having a look at Ned Wharton at the moment, P9, the 57 just ahead, Andrew Pike. This might be, if you're looking for a move or a battle in pro, this might be where you find it for the final lap.
Yeah, I think it will be. As Wharton has had so many trials and tribulations in this race, it'd be great to see a recovery late on. A look down the inside there, that's not going to happen on the inside line. It'll have to be somewhere else, but unfortunately catching up and starting to put the pressure on this late doesn't often yield a pass so quickly here at this circuit. It does take a few laps to work on sometimes.
It will, and well, these guys getting themselves onto the final lap now. Last opportunity to try to make a move now. Big one going in towards the shall all happen, of course. More bits of lap traffic having to be dealt with. Ned probably a little bit too far back to be able to make a move here. Just looking for that open door somewhere to try to stick his nose in, but it's very, very tough to do here at Oulton Park. Yes, a bit of lap traffic ahead may be a big cause for concern, but at the top of the pro order, it's Will Eatwell once again leading them around and potentially to another race win for the championship leader. And well, we can almost say for certainty championship winner. We'll be doing it at the end of the second race if that happens. But Will Eatwell across the line to take the race win here. Race 1 at Oulton Park is his. The number 54 on top once again. It's 4 in a row for Will Eatwell. And then looking down at the AM category, it's Ben Chalcraft heading his way across the line in the number 88. Second place in the championship, first place in race 1 for Ben. That's looking pretty good, and it's looking pretty spicy at the top of AM as far as our championship's concerned.
Yeah, absolutely. Jordan will, I think, hold on to his championship lead, but it will be very, very close. The big loser out of this one is Adam Grevson, who is going to finish in 6th place in this first race of the day in the AM class. This is a bit further down. David Biggerdike just in front of Roy Weller at the end of the top 10 at the end of the race. And that's Ben Sibber, who's just in front actually as well in 8th, but they are across the line single file, no positional change there. So the AM Championship gets even closer as the Pro One extends out with Eatwell winning. And to add insult into injury, Ryan McAleef also got a black flag on the last lap as well.
I see. Down in P10, but of course that will make him slide further down as he had not served it by the time the checkered flag came out. So there's Jacob Jenner just heading his way towards the back end of the lap here, just to finish off the race for the number 9. But an intriguing first race here at Oulton Park to set us up for getting towards the end of the season, as we'll look at our unofficial race results from race 1. Remember, these are unofficial. They are pending stewards review, of course, as all protests are looked at after the race rather than during. It's Will Eatwell taking the race win here by almost 3 seconds over George Tyler with a fantastic run there in 2nd place. Tyler having a brilliant event so far to be so close to Will Eatwell. Then you got Gordon Marshall there down in P3. That's going to be his best finish of the season as well. Luke Andrews in P4 with Aidan Carter P5. Dave Martin will finish in P6 with Oliver Stone P7. Ned Wharton P8 with Andrew Pike and Luke Monroe rounding out the top 10 drivers. Then you've got Mike Rayner P11 with Alistair Pollock P12. Ben Smith in 13th with Ryan McAuliffe. He slides all the way down to 14th after that black flag towards the end. And Matthew Cheverton, 15th. Lewis Benny, 16th. And Kieran Sharp rounds out the 17 car. Finishing results for Pro. Then in AM, it's Ben Chalcraft leading the way there with Matthew Jordan in P2. Then you got Carl Chase in P3 with Ashley Toft P4, with Matthew Clark P5, with Adam Grayson P6, Harley Byrne 7th with Ben Sieber P8, David Biggerdike and Roy Weller get around out the top 10 in AM. And then the back end of AM, we got Nick Scott, Jacob Jenner, Jake Andrews, Gabriel Yimlaz down to P14. You got Sheraz Khan and Jamie Bardwell. Well, that was looked top to bottom of our finishing results. And of course, that will also be the starting grid for race number 2 as well, as we get ourselves our, 4 in a row race winner into the commentary booth. Will Ewan, you're standing by with him.
Will, congratulations on another victory in this series and potentially important one at Oulton Park tonight. Tell us about the opening part of the race, though, and how you managed to wrestle the lead away early from Ryan.
Yeah, I got a pretty decent start, and it sounded like Ryan let up the rears a little bit, so that set him back a tiny bit, but managed to sneak in front into the first corner. Really feisty first couple laps. I was really struggling with the brakes, locking the fronts into some corners, locking the rears into others, and I felt like I was a bit all over the shop, but I managed to get under control after a while.
Yeah, it did look like you were up against it a little bit in that race at times, must be said. Obviously, you held on in the end and your consistency won out. But would you agree that at times, Ryan was quicker than you in this first race? And second of all, what was the key to keeping him behind in that seemingly situation where you were a bit slower?
Yeah, he was definitely quicker. He was all over me. I think I knew that the only places he could really try and move were into the last corner and into turn 2. And maybe into the hairpin, but that was unlikely. So I made sure I was focusing on just defending those 2 corners, because making a move into the chicane is unlikely unless I get a really, really bad run out of one of them. So, I think that was the key there.
Well, congratulations on winning race 1 here tonight, Will, and thanks for chatting to us. Good luck for the second one.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks very much. That is Will Ewell, who wins race 1 tonight, Connery.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic stuff from Eatwell. Again, consistent performances over the course of the season means that he's basically got one firm grip on that trophy for the pro category. But I do kind of want to go straight to the AMs in a way, because I want to get myself Ben Chalcraft in here. Ben, very comfortable first race here at Oulton Park. It looked like the margin looked quite wide towards the end, and of course that really helps you in terms of your championship hopes. But as myself and Ewan were discussing before this race, it's looking very, very spicy at the top there.
Yeah, it's going to be really close, I think, by the end of the season. It may not have been close in the race in terms of time after Matt was helped towards the grass early on. But, it was still only one position, so the points difference hasn't changed too much between us.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's razor thin margins as we get into the second race of the evening, and of course you only got 2 more after that at Brands Hatch to try and settle your differences. What's going to be the plan of action coming into the second race? Of course, by virtue of winning, you also start on pole position in the AM category there as well. And I know it can be tricky getting these cars off of a standing start, especially here where you got the pit straight being so hilly. So what's your approach to that?
Yeah, that proved to be a bit of a problem, not for us getting off the line with basically launch control in these, but the pickups ahead are spinning the wheels and sliding around. You kind of have to weave through the back couple of rows until they get going. Make sure you have a clean start, a nice safe opening lap or 2, and then see if you can make this Porsche as wide as possible for another 30 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely, and of course, with this circuit, we found it. We found in a lot of situations it was pretty difficult for overtakes to happen. Obviously, you didn't get the opportunity to do that many, given you were leading for all of it. But it was. But in terms of being lap traffic with those faster pro drivers coming up on you, is that particularly challenging right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll always moan about how much time we lose, and they'll moan about how much time they lost with us. But for me, so far, touch wood, it's been pretty good with the pickups. They've picked sensible places to go past. So it's, you're going to lose time. It's just about minimising that and hopefully just blending that throttle out, or maybe running a wider line just to get it over and done with and get back up to pace.
Absolutely. It's great to get some insights from you, Ben. I'll let you go and get yourself prepared for that all-important second race of the evening.
Thanks very much.
There's Ben Shallcraft there taking the race win in Am here for race number 1. And Siwan, you're going to be standing by with Matthew Jordan.
Yes, Matt, welcome in. Good to have you with us. How are you viewing that race after just one of the two, of course, tonight? Is it a good attempt from yourself to sort of salvage, limit the damage, or are you, disappointed to have dropped points? Which side are you falling on that at the moment?
Yeah, it's frustrating getting taken out at the start, but it's just a racing incident, just one of those. But so yeah, frustrating to lose a few points. I think me and Ben would have had a good battle, but very happy with the recovery. I didn't think I'd make it back up to P2, so we'll take the positives and try again in race 2.
Exactly. What are you expecting from this second race in terms of the racing? Because Ben won by a long way in race number 1. Do you think you'll challenge him if you get a good start this time?
I think so. Yeah, I think if I can get a good start, stay with him, I think we'll have a good race. I think we've got similar pace. The field is really close actually this week, so it's difficult to come back through. But yeah, I think we'll have a good race.
Right. Well, we look forward to it. Matt, congratulations on rescuing a good position in race 1, and good luck for the second one.
Yes, guys. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much. That's Matthew Jordan, who will look to go a bit better in race number 2, although still a second place in race 1 tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always interesting seeing the dynamic, between the top contenders of this AM category, because they are so close, but it all still seems rather cordial and friendly, which is great to see. But I'm gonna bring in Carl Chase here at the moment as well. Carl, very very competent race for you here today. You were stuck in the thick of it with regards to the top 3 positions, the podium positions. How did it feel about that today?
Felt good, to be honest. Good, clean racing as well, I'd say. Very good to participate in.
Yeah, absolutely. You've obviously, after the double podium finish last time out, you've put yourself into a position where you're still maybe a little too far adrift of that that third place in the championship. Although Adam Greaveson having a poor day so far today might just give you a chance. So what are your thoughts with regards to sort of being that outside shot for P3 in the championship and getting to go on that Porsche experience?
To be honest, I'm going to keep pushing regardless. As long as I'm on the track, I'm going to be going for it as much as I can, regardless of whether I'll have the points, what chance of being in points or not. But yeah, if I was to get the Porsches, then I'll be over the moon. I've joined full, so yeah.
Yeah, it's an experience that I don't think anyone will forget if for those that will go on it. But just give me your overall thoughts about the circuit here today. Obviously, like I said to some of the other drivers, it can be quite tricky to try and make some moves out there today. How was it for you with regards to trying to press on forwards through the race?
I kind of struggled, to be honest. For some reason, once I get in the dirty air, it just seemed to the car just seemed to understeer heavily, so I was really struggling towards the end with tyres. It seemed my front just seemed to have gone. Yeah, I just didn't have much chance of keeping up with Matt. But the track is quite hard to pass on anyway. A very skinny track, and not many overtaking points. So you kind of just have to rely on the person in front just making a mistake before you actually get ahead or have a chance to get ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. But obviously the practice session has now started, so I'll let you get back to that, Carl. But good luck in the second race.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Well, there we go. That was Carl Chase there down in the AM category, having a good run of things. 4th place in the championship coming into today. But if Adam Greaveson's going to have a couple more poor races like that, then he might just get himself up into P3 by the time this is all done.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. I think it's going to be very difficult, to be honest, for anybody inside the or outside the top 3 in that AM class to actually get themselves into it. But it's worth giving it a go, isn't it? Absolutely, with the prize that's on offer. So yeah, he'll give it a very good go. And actually, in the race he has been at, he's been very strong. So we'll hope to recover some of those points, but going to be very difficult. Far more interesting, I think, is going to be the championship battle in the AMs, which has just got even closer, happily for us.
Yeah, absolutely. It's that's the optimistic thing I'm holding on to coming into this second race, and of course into Brands Hatch as well. Is that we'll have a 3-way fight essentially for the championship in the AM category, which is more than we could really ask for at this stage, and it is going to be brilliant to see. And hopefully, if the ideal situation is that they're all in the same piece of track together in the final stage of the championship to try and decide it, but we can all get our hopes up, I suppose. But of course, it's the opposite situation in Pro. Will Eatwell pretty much has this sealed. It's just sort of signing on the dotted line now, isn't it, for the last race of the evening, and that will be it as far as he's concerned.
Yeah, I mean, helped further by Ryan Micallef getting that black flag towards the end and having those troubles as he did. Still not sure why he came in pit lane for the first time, but yeah, a very bad race for him once again at a bad point in the season as well. So he'll almost have it sewn up now, actually, with 3 races to go, but not quite. He will have to wait for the end of this one. Although I'm not sure what position he actually has to finish in, but it won't be a very high one for him to win the championship, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. But we've still got some question marks in Pro in terms of some of the other positions. Obviously, as Micallef slides back through the order a little bit. I'm really interested in that battle between Oliver Stone, Aidan Carter, Kieran Sharp. For the last position, the last prize-paying position in the championship, that 3rd place, still looking quite close between those 3. So even though the championship win for the pros has kind of been decided, the final prize-paying position definitely has not been confirmed.
Yeah, and that was a huge race for George Tyler, actually, in that conversation. I think he's very much a big factor in that battle now as well. Whereas at the start of today, he could have maybe said, is he too far away? Well, no, certainly not now, I don't think, with that 2nd place finish. It's just the loss of momentum, I think, last week that might have put a few people off. 8th and a 15th place at Silverstone, if you're trying to finish 3rd in the championship, is not anywhere near where you need to be. But this is absolutely back on track now, needs another solid race. Sharp will have dropped to the back of that queue now, but Stone and Carter had decent races themselves, so definitely those 3 involved. And who knows how far Ryan Micallef could fall towards the end here. Could it really be a sort of snowball effect of realising the championship overall is almost over, and those race results start to spiral out of control? Maybe he doesn't even finish in the top 3 at the end of next week. That would be a shock, but it's not impossible given the situation he finds himself in now.
Yeah, it does seem to be a pattern that we're seeing. Very, very quick, but can't quite get the results. And that's not a slight on towards him. That happens to so many drivers, even ones at a higher level than this one. In the Porsche Esports Super Cup, for example, you can pick up many examples of drivers who are very, very quick, but just don't quite get the results because they get themselves into unfortunate situations or they don't make the best of decisions. It happens all of the time. Because in the end, it's that old adage, isn't it, Ewan? It's consistency that wins championships, not individual results. Yeah, no, it absolutely is. And we say it time and time again because it is so true. And the difficult thing is when you come up against a driver who's actually very, very fast and very consistent, which is what everybody's come up against in Will Eatwell this season. Not a single finish below 2nd, and the last time he did that was the first race 2 weeks ago at Thruxton. He's won every single race since then, 4 on the bounce. That's a consecutive streak that won't be beaten this season by anybody in the pro category or the AMs, and so it's very difficult to overcome that. But making mistakes like what we've seen for the likes of Ryan Micallef at times this season is not helping the situation, certainly. But I'm not sure what else many could have done about Will Eatwell this season. He's been very, very difficult to beat. Yeah, exactly. Even though in some head-to-head battles with McAuliffe, he has been the slower driver. It felt almost impossible to get past that 911 Cup car. It is really a sight to behold when Willie Well is doing his thing with regards to defending. Definitely the hardest person to pass on this grid. But we've got ourselves just a good couple of seconds left remaining here in the practice section. Looks like it's a little bit more dark and gloomy, as it has been for the past week or so here in the UK with the very overcast skies. Hopefully as a result, maybe that makes the track temperature drop a little bit, and then the tires can survive perhaps that little bit better towards the end of the race. Because yes, it is a short race. However, tire wear and maybe taking too much out of the tires at the start of the race can become a big problem once it comes to the back end of those 30 minutes. So then, we're coming up on our final race of the evening here at Oulton Park. It is Will Eatwell taking the pole position as a result of that race win in race number 1 here for race number 2. Then it's George Tyler P2, Gordon Marshall start 3rd, with Luke Andrews in 4th, Aidan Carter 5th, and Dave Martin 6th. Oliver Stone will start 7th with Ned Worton P8, Andrew Pike P10 with Luca Monroe in Andrew Pike P9 and Luca Monroe in P10. Then you got Mike Rayner P11 with Alistair Pollock in P12. Ben Smith will line up 13th with Ryan McAuliffe in 14th. Then you got Matthew Cheverton 15th with Lewis Benny in 16th. Down in the AM category, it's Ben Shallcraft leading the group with Matthew Jordan in P2. Carl Chase P3 with Ashley Toff P4. Matthew Clark will start in 5th with Adam Greveson in 6th place. And then we've got to go to the starting grid because the drivers are about to get themselves going for race number 2 here at Oulton Park. Those engine notes will rise. We're off and away for the second race of the evening. Will Eatwell with an absolutely monster of a start there as George Tyler now has to get himself back in towards a fight for P2 instead, as Gordon Marshall trying to get himself forward progress here in the early stages, but has to settle for that 3rd place. 2x2 in behind in the pro category. No major issues for the fastest class here today, although Ashley Toft in our AM category is sliding rapidly down the order. So something has happened to Ashley Toft there. Meanwhile, at the backup pro, still some scrambling going on. In and amongst Mike Rayner and Alistair Pollock here, and I think that is Toft 23 having the off-track excursion there. Back onto circuit, he comes.
It's a long, long way off out there as well at Cascades. You can find yourself a very, very long way from the racetrack going off into the grass there. But if that's the worst incident of them all, then we've gotten away rather nicely through Sector 1 this time, as opposed to what we saw in the first race of the day. Still a bit of side-by-side, a bit further down. Ned Worton only just in front of Ryan McAuliffe, who's made a very, very good start. Admittedly, it's from a long way back, and so gaining places is a bit easier. But nevertheless, it's a good start, and he's fighting hard now for 9th. Here he goes. Down the inside, aggression turned up to the max. Oh dear, and he's into the side of Worton there.
Yeah, absolutely. Worton's able to hold on to position though, but this is what we're used to seeing from McAuliffe when he's out of position. He tends to get a bit aggressive with the drivers ahead, and Worton feeling the full brunt of that coming towards the end of the first lap here. They all get themselves stacked up behind though, as they head their way through turn number 1 for the second time. Gordon Marshall up in towards 2nd place. Here's a replay of what happened in AM.
It's just a little bit of contact before one of the drivers find themselves off into the grass, and there must be another one there, because that's not the car we saw almost finding the wall all the way out there, I don't think. Rejoining after running through the grass on lap number 1. So just a small bit of this, and this may indeed be that incident. Oh, so bobble over the curb and a solo spin for Harley Byrne. That could have happened at any time. It's just a shame it happened at lap 1. He very nearly got stuck on one of the grass banks that separates those two parts of the circuit when you sort of double back on yourself coming down here at the hairpin.
Yeah, it's that would be an awkward moment if he did get sort of beached or stuck on that situation. Although Procard just pulling off the circuit and taking the tow back to pit lane there. Mike Rayner getting himself a meatball flag, and well, I imagine that was the back end of the reason why.
Yeah. And strange stoppage actually on the those immovable tyre walls on the inside line. I can't decide whether I'd like them to be movable or not, to be honest with you. And I kind of think if they were movable, they'd flop about all over the circuit, which I don't think would be much more help either.
Yeah, I suppose so. Maybe they can move a little bit, but after that point, you know, they'd ghost them or something. I don't know. I'm not a massive fan of having them be solid objects there. As meanwhile, battle for the race lead in AM. A bit of a train for the race lead in AM. It's Ben Chalcraft, Matthew Jordan, Carl Chase, Matthew Clark in that order. And they're looking feisty as ever. Chase making some progress, potentially down towards the inside here on Jordan. Jordan will give him the space coming through turn number 1. All is fair, and there's there's almost a pro car backing across the circuit. That would have been the most embarrassing rejoin I've ever seen. Matthew Jordan holds on into P2 though.
Yeah, don't do that in front of you, otherwise
yeah,
it'll be trouble. But I think it was Pollock, Alistair Pollock, wasn't it, who's spun around and is now down to the back of the field. It's just a classic bit of grass on the exit turn 1 and a classic smack on the wall coming out of the corner as well. That is a real shame. Thankfully, only reversed right up to the edge of the racetrack, and for a while it looked like he wouldn't stop before just continuing. He did stay on the grass, to be fair to him, and rejoined safe enough. So, maybe not. I didn't see this first bit. Sorry.
Oh no. Oh no.
You know, he's not going to get an A star for that, but it could, you know, it wasn't terrible. And there's a spin, meantime, in sympathy. One of the Caymans going around. I don't know who that was actually. Who spun around. Jake Andrews. So, thankfully, he wasn't collected either, although his spin was quite dramatically in front of the rest of the field.
Yeah, able to get back going. Probably saw that and it scared the ever-living daylights out of him. So therefore, he was like, actually, I'll just have my spin here rather than have caught up with that car trying to rejoin the racing circuit. But all turns out okay. Although George Tyler has a bit of an off. There goes Oliver Stone through, and Tyler might be under threat from Aidan Carter in behind here as well. So a couple of shuffles around in this pro order could really shake things up in terms of that third place in the championship. Aidan Carter now on the back of George Tyler.
Another look, you've got to strike now if possible. Tyler's been very quick tonight, so this could be a difficult pass for Carter, but could be made a lot easier if Carter can strike immediately towards the first chicane. It's not going to be possible, and it looks like Tyler's just sort of settled himself here in the last couple of moments. Oliver Stone now the best placed of those 4 drivers that outlined at the beginning about the fight for third place in the championship. Oliver Stone comes in with the best points of the 4 as well, with 75. So this solid third place run is exactly what he needs, and actually he's on the back of Gordon Marshall even for second place as they fight behind Will Eatwell for that second position.
Gordon Marshall having a fantastic run in this second race as well. The first race was pretty stellar too, but second place in race number 2 for Gordon Marshall, especially considering how his season has gone so far, where before today at least he'd only had 1 top 10 finish. Looking fantastic indeed. Meanwhile, battle going on further back through the pro order. Luke Andrews involved with Martin here. You've got McAuliffe heading his way through as well. McAuliffe down to the inside on Martin. Well, Martin, he gets squeezed out a little bit. Not a lot of room for Martin to work with there. Gets his nose chopped a little bit, but able to recover.
Just about. It's another sort of another hairy moment coming out of the first corner. There's a lot of those. You just always feel like, because there's that big sort of astroturf, the sort of not grass on the outside of that first corner, you do feel like you've got a little bit more freedom to run out there, and you sort of forget that it's actually quite difficult in these cars to run that line without spinning every time. Got to really stay focused through there so that you don't spin to the inside wall, because at that point in the circuit in particular, there is very little room for error when you spin into the inside, so got to be very careful. One of those many parts of this circuit where you're so close to disaster, as you are down here as well. Gredson looks down the inside of Matthew Clark, but he's struggling to make moves in this race as well.
Yeah, it's it was looking like a very positive start to the season for Gredson, because he got that double race win in the first round of the season at Donington Park, and we were thinking, and they were dominant wins as well, so we were thinking actually, Graveston looking very, very competitive coming into this season. However, after that first race meeting, it didn't really convert into anything else. Yes, it was a pretty good race meeting last time with the second and the third, but the ninth place finish in race 2 at round 2 is one that's really hurting at the moment as far as Graveston is concerned.
Yeah, and can't afford that really in these short seasons that we've already alluded to. You cannot afford to be lagging behind in any of these rounds, otherwise you're going to be raced away from by a couple of other drivers, in this case Charcraft and Jordan, who are doing just that. Clark went a bit wide there because of a bit of traffic and feels the need to defend towards turn 1 from Grevson, who tries to take advantage, and there is a bit of contact towards turn 1.
Graves is swinging it around the outside. Clark able to hold on. Grayson bites too much of the cherry though, has to take the off track coming out of the turn number 1. But yeah, it got a bit squirrely, it got a bit close coming down the pit straight that time around. Matthew Clark wanting to hold on to position there. Meanwhile, we go back up to Ryan McAuliffe, who's up into P7 at the moment. 6th ahead is Luke Andrews, and there's a good couple of cars further down the road that are quite close as well. So Tyler, Carter, etc. are all there for the pickings potentially for McAuliffe, but it's going to be difficult. We've already mentioned so many times about how hard it is to get yourself a pass done here, but McAuliffe has really taking that as a challenge.
Yeah, and I think at the moment the pace that he's showing, the speed with which he's actually making some of these overtakes, the third place isn't out of the question by any means, and if he wants to keep that top 3 in the championship, then he just need a couple of solid results here. He doesn't need to win necessarily. If he's not worried about Will Eatwell anymore because Eatwell's on his way to a championship surely, then he's just got to focus on shoring up a third place finish, and that can be done without anything too extravagant, given the points advantage that McAuliffe held into this round of the championship with only 2 to go and 4 races to go. So he's in the driver's seat, as it were. He's just got to be efficient here and make these passes cleanly. Don't get any penalties or anything like that. That would start to unravel you a little bit. And he's trying that at the moment, although Andrews is pressuring Aidan Carter at the same time.
Looking relatively tight here in this little bit of the pro order, that's for certain. McAuliffe unable to find his way through just yet, although he does get a good run across Hilltop here, but again, the braking zone down into his stops is not necessarily an opportunity you want to be taken too often. You might as well wait for the good run out of Knickerbrook and then potentially make a move down in towards Druids instead. That would probably be the safer of the 2 options there, but yeah, it's even if you don't draw yourself alongside here, you pretty much have no chance in the final sector.
Yeah, it's not the place for overtakes normally anyway in the final sector, but McAuliffe is making exception. Here he comes, and there is the problem we've seen all season long. He's trying to make a move quickly, and we've spoken about the importance of doing that, and he's right to see it as important and urgent that he needs to make these moves, but the constant misjudgment of these moves and the incidents have just undone his season, and if he's not careful, they'll undo his top 3 completely. Luke Andrews has said, that's enough for me for this race, thanks very much, that'll be it for him.
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of deja vu. I'll be completely honest there. How many times this season have we seen McAuliffe go for a low percentage move like that and expect the door to just be wide open on the inside with no significant overlap? It's we see it time and time again, unfortunately, and it's kind of meant that we don't have a battle for the pro championship now. But yeah, and it's a shame for Luke Andrews, because obviously Luke Andrews was probably quite rightfully a little annoyed about how that move was made, and then overcommitted himself down in towards turn number 1 as a result. But yeah, I'm sorry, but that door's always going to close there. You're not entitled to the corner if you're making a move that late.
Oh dear. Something's been going on there for the AMs. All sorts of cars over the place there, but I think the bigger problem for me is that, when you're making a move like that, as we see what happened indeed through turn number 1, it's we had a spin earlier from Jake Andrews, it was. That's not a great place to sit, but he's gotten away without causing any major incidents, although there was somebody else spinning off to the inside of it later. The problem for me was that, you know, when you're making a move down the inside, it was Roy Weller. When you're making a move down the inside like that, you've got to really, really tightly stick to the inside of the corner. And if you look at where the cars were positioned when they both started to actually lose control, you can see Mikulic's car sort of almost in the middle of the road. He's got to be pinned further to the right-hand side while they're still on the corner. Yes, they're coming towards the exit, and yes, the racing line does obviously go out towards the outside of the corner there. But you know, it shouldn't be taking the racing line. He's coming from a long way back on the inside. He's got to be right pinned up to the inside, right the way through the corner, to at least allowing a car width on the outside. I'm afraid the point at which they both do start to lose contact, Mikulic is starting to drift to the middle of the road, and at that point contact is always going to be inevitable, and unfortunately it seems inevitable. He'll be receiving a talking to from race control after that as well.
Jacob Jenner getting moved and then having a bit of a self-spin in towards the hairpin there. It seemed like everything sort of has attempted to happen all at once here, with that incident in Pro, but also the various ones we've had down in Am as well. The 57 off, that's Andrew Pike having an issue. Yeah, it's all happening, it seems, at this stage in the race, and it continues to happen on the live pictures as well, because we got Oliver Stone, George Tyler close together with Gordon Marshall there as well. So Alpha P2 and 3 looking very, very spicy indeed. And Alpha Am race leader still within a second too, remember?
Yeah, I think, you know, it's the story of the season, really, isn't it? The individual races have been very exciting in terms of the battle for the race win, more often than not, actually. But unfortunately, the overall championship, especially in Pro, is just not provided for us this season in terms of a close battle. Ben Smith jumping over the inside curb, bobbling away and spinning around outside of the top 10. It's another one to chalk up, unfortunately, for the 12 car on the season, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, close races, not a close championship in this class, unfortunately, but this is another one of those close battles anyway. Oliver Stone putting himself in a very good position here by getting himself involved in this.
Yeah, absolutely. This is that all-important battle for third place in the championship. And, well, George Tyler obviously is the one with the most disadvantage, I suppose, coming into this in terms of points here today, but still with a good shot. And obviously we got Aidan Carter in there as well. He's currently, well, was fourth place coming into the race evening here today as well. So it's all these drivers involved in this battle for at least P3 are all looking for that final prize paying position. Oliver Stone looking on Gordon Marshall to try to improve his point situation and try and take P2 away.
Yeah, it's a classic case now of how much are you willing to risk for this, because even the position that Stone is in at the moment is fine. You know, it's pretty good, but what does how much does he want second place, and what of an advantage is that going to give to him? It would gain him an extra 3 points, by the way, over those behind, so very much worth having. But will he risk it all trying to get it? And get the feeling not, and you get the feeling that Marshall's absolutely not going to give it to him. Not that you'd expect that either, but that just confirms it. On the run towards the hairpin there was certainly decisive defending there.
Yeah, absolutely. So Marshall is not going to be an easy position, and as a result, Stone will get backed up into Tyler here. Tyler will probably get backed up into Carter as well, although there's a more significant gap between those two as well. And just stacking up all of our final prize-paying positions all together looks like a particularly tantalizing prospect for the very end of this event. But yeah, it's you know, it's all about putting in a plan of action now potentially for these drivers, right? You have to just take these couple of laps to sense, okay, where is the driver ahead of me weak? Where are they a bit stronger? What tiny little advantage could I leverage to be able to manufacture some form of opportunity somewhere? And of course, in those calculations, you always have to be thinking about the lap traffic, which will be coming imminent as well.
Yeah, and as I mentioned in the first race, I really like the point in the race at which the main bulk of the traffic actually falls for these Pro and Am drivers. I think it does affect the race quite nicely in the sense that you get those opening laps of clean racing with no multi-class traffic involved, but as it's a little bit more spread out towards the end, there is a big fight for these positions and a big fight to get past the Am drivers as well. I think it's well placed in this race, but so far it's not affected Marshall. It will just affect Stone. He has to miss the apex slightly, but there's the first little bit of interruption. It hasn't created too big of a gap, though. It will take Carter out of the equation a little bit more, though.
Yeah, Carter having to go the long way around on the lap traffic through the hairpin. Will lose a good couple of tenths of a second as a result of that one. But yeah, it's looking still nose to tail in and amongst these pro drivers at the moment. The battle for Am race lead that has extended out a little bit since when I last looked at it. It was around about 6 or 7 tenths of a second last time, but now it's been extended up to 1.1, 1.2. So Matthew Jordan looking great as far as the Am category is concerned. Meanwhile, these pros still have to deal with a bit more lap traffic, but it falls in a nice way for each of them this time.
So that flat out section again towards Druids, which is an ideal place to do it as long as there's no miscommunication. You don't lose any time as the faster cars there as they come up towards the line now. 4 effectively in this group, with Carter a little bit further removed. Marshall, Stone and Tyler very much part of this, but how does Stone work at getting through? And doubling back to what I said earlier on, how much is he willing to risk to do it as well? That's the age-old question when you're in a championship battle like this. What makes the end of championships so interesting in these types of situations? Oh, wow! Didn't even see that there was a car stop there. There was so much smoke in the air, and I'm not sure how much Stone saw either.
I believe that was Charles Khan. It was one of the pink Caymans.
Tyler.
Oh, yeah.
George Tyler.
Oh, wow. What's happened to George Tyler? He's spun off. He's out. He's taken the tow.
I wonder whether he didn't miss the stationary car that Oliver Stone did, and I wonder whether he went straight on the next corner. He did smack him, and so he's already got damage. Have a look at this. I think he's going towards turn 4 expecting, well, I've got a bit of damage, but it'll be fine, and then tries to turn in. No chance, absolutely no chance, and he's done.
Oh, that is a big shame there for George Tyler. He was looking to try and gain enough points to be able to keep himself within a chance at a top 3 finish at the end of this season, but with a car spun in the middle of the circuit, Khan just going very wide, losing control, and no, there's another Cayman trying to come through on that one, and again all the pros come in, and a couple of them actually graze the side there.
Yeah. So not just Tyler. Would it have been Carter then, I suppose, who got under the piece? Can't see any damage from here, but I'm a long way away. I don't know at the moment. It definitely was 2 touches though. Maybe it was another Cayman, but I don't know. The Cayman who properly smacked him though was Jacob Jenner into this corner here. He very nearly had a similar stack up. This is what Jenner saw, and this is exactly why you don't move like that.
Yeah, there's nowhere for Janet to go there, unfortunately. Picked his direction, and unfortunately it was the wrong one, and the car moved. Big shame there. Meanwhile, I mean, even through that incident, that still means we have this battle for P2 and 3 raging on for the pro category. Again, going to be constantly affected by the lap traffic here as well. So it hasn't ruined the remaining battles here at the moment. We've still got this one to look at for the final 8 minutes that we have to run, and it is a pretty important one as well, as Oliver Stone tries to firmly secure himself in P3 in the championship and make his life a little bit easier by the time we get to Brands Hatch next week.
I get the feeling that that's going to be a pretty similar race to this one as well. So in terms of the way the traffic's interacting, in terms of the difficulty in overtaking, maybe a little bit easier at Brands Hatch, but not much. And so it's good practice for next week's race as well to be running out here today and getting a good result. Certainly good to have good form at this end of the season when you're looking at those championship positions and trying to get into that top 3 to win those amazing prizes as well. As he said before, it will be great day for those who can get there, and there's going to be a big fight to get there as well. Seeing a number of drivers sort of put themselves into that conversation and take themselves out as we continue on today. Stone certainly getting himself to third more comfortably. Nick Scott, the latest to be spun around. That's Ben Smith, I think, into Druids.
Yeah, just a little bit of a tag to the rear ends, and a lot of lost time involved there as well. But yeah, the sim experience for the top three, not sim experience, sorry, the actual Porsche experience at Silverstone. It's not a sim experience; it's actually real world cars that they'll be getting to drive in that. I have had the pleasure to do it myself a couple of seasons ago, as commentators were invited, as well as the drivers, and it was an absolutely incredible experience. As someone who's never driven any sort of performance car before then, you know, I just had an old 2001 Ford Focus. Okay, getting in behind the wheel of a 911 is not something I'd ever thought I'd do, and it was an absolutely insane experience. I would recommend it, and they do actually sell those experiences online as well.
They sell 911s as well if you fancy one.
Yeah. A spare 100 grand lying around. Yeah.
It's slightly different.
The one that I drove was like 120,000 or something.
Goodness me.
Yeah, it was. I was petrified trying to get it out of the little parking area. I was like, oh, don't scratch it, don't scratch it, don't scratch it.
That's what I'd be thinking about. Yeah, goodness me. You wouldn't be very. I wouldn't like to be the owner of that, watching that around.
What, watching me behind the wheel of your 911?
Or anyone, any random person, to be honest. I feel very nervous, but anyway, it would be great for the guys that make it there, and I'll say we're a little bit closer to finding out. Although happily, especially in the Pro, the three actual names are not quite clear. Especially if Carter can get past Stone here, could put Carter right in there as far as the close battle going into that final race of the season next week. There'll be a 3-point gain for Carter over Stone, if because that's the difference between third and fourth at the moment. Stone obviously putting 3 points into Carter, and there's only 5 minutes to go.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's the small points margins that could very much matter towards the end of the season. And we are very, very quickly getting towards that point. After we get the checkered flag dropping here in this race, we'll only have 2 more races to go, and both of those will happen next week at Brands Hatch. So yeah, very, very short season indeed. None of this sort of marathon sort of 15 to 20 long, race seasons. It all happens rather quickly here in the Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge Great Britain. So it's less of a matter of attrition, this sort of championship. It's all about that sort of burst performance.
Yeah, and it's a thing that is common actually across a lot of MS UK championships actually, where certainly in the esports side of things, where we so often have championship finales because we so often have these shorter 5-6 race seasons. This is 10 race technically, but 5 rounds. It counts for the same. It does help to keep things close right towards the very end, and we do like to see that in a championship. Always enjoy a championship finale, no matter how many rounds we've had to get to that position. It's always great to watch. So I'm sure next week will be a great and fitting end to the season. But who is going to be there in the prime position on the way in? It looks like, remarkably, Gordon Marshall might well keep this second place after defending all race. It's been a long defence, but still holding that position at the moment with 3 minutes to go.
He was 13th in the championship coming into today, and yet is looking for a P2 here in race 2, up against some very strong competition indeed. Oliver Stone, of course, looking to pick up as many, even marginally small amount of points as possible to try and make sure he's secure inside of that top 3. Give himself the best chance at Brands Hatch to seal the deal, but Gordon Marshall is just denying him that buffer zone at the moment.
Yeah, it's a really good bit of defending actually across the course of the day from Marshall, and it would be great to see him hold on to that place all day, but We've seen cruel things happen before, and it might well just do at the end here as Stone pushes harder and harder. 2 laps to go, by the way, for these guys. You can see it well out front, leading again, just passing the last little bit of Cayman traffic, which these guys are going to have to do as well.
Yep, that might just be the last factor. If Marshall can get himself through on that fine without any compromised lines or a lack of a run, then he should be relatively okay. It seems like Oliver Stone has not been able to manufacture his own opportunity here just yet, and that's not from the lack of trying. He's been trying really, really hard to try and make this happen, but it is difficult to do at a circuit such as this one. In towards Hislops, they come then in towards turn 12 at Knickerbrook. You can try to angle for a good run coming through here and then maybe make something happen in towards Druids, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case either for Oliver Stone at the moment. We've got less than a minute and a half on the clock left. Here's the lap traffic, though. The GT4 just sort of holding all of them up here as Marshall gets himself to the inside just fine. Here comes Aidan Carter, though, as he looks towards the outside, but he's going to get his lane on the outside. Is going to get blocked by the GT4 as well.
I mean, that was a decent chance on the way to the final corner for, well, it should have been for Stone, but actually Carter made it 3 wide briefly. Here comes Stone on the outside of turn 1. There's a long way round there, and here comes Carter then as a result. So difficult when you're in the middle of a 3 to attack while also defending at the same time down the hill of Cascades. Neither of them head down the inside this time round. A little bit of tentativeness even on this final lap.
Yeah, absolutely, and yet more lap traffic in ahead as well. That's actually your leader of Matthew Jordan. They're just going to have to try and squeak their way past here, but they're all going to stack up behind him instead, coming through the hairpin, and they might just be behind, are they? Gordon Marshall brings himself alongside. Matthew Jordan's just going to bail out of that situation entirely. Probably a good choice. Loses about a second in doing so, but maintains his P1 as a result. Good decision making there on the part of that bright green Cayman. But meanwhile, these four still battle it out now in 2 pairs of 2 as they head their way in towards Hislops for the final time. But meanwhile, further up through the field, Will Eatwell. It's been a stellar season up until this point, and it continues to be so here at Oulton Park for our penultimate race meeting. He's just got a couple of corners to go before he can call himself the Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge Great Britain champion in the pro category. It's Will Eatwell in a number 54, taking the checkered flag and taking it all.
5 wins in a row, by the way, as well. That race brings up fantastic performances from him all season long. Deserving champion he will be as well, as Matt Jordan comes over the line to win in Am.
Absolutely great setup for the final race meeting for Matthew Jordan, as he will hold a bit of a better advantage into the final race meeting of the season. Schalkar finishes second, Carl Chase in third. A couple of late swaps there. Biggerdyke and Toft having a bit of a fight for P5. I think that's all resolved itself now. But yeah, a little bit of action towards the end there. It is Oliver Stone that comes across the line P3. It's actually Ryan McAuliffe that takes P4 right in the dire moment there. Not sure what happens to Aidan Carter. Meanwhile, Martin and Oulton. There's a big send from Martin. That was never going to work, I'm afraid. They have to take the shortcut across the chicane and take the slowdown penalties involved in that as well. And actually, Martin will give up the position, looks like, here to Ned as a result of that. So good sportsmanship on show between the two of those. Meanwhile, here are our unofficial race results. Will Eatwell wins by 7.3 seconds over Gordon Marshall and will end up taking the championship for the Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge Great Britain in 2025 in the pro category. Then you've got Oliver Stone setting himself up nicely for the final round of the season in P3, with Ryan McAuliffe actually up into P4 this time around after a late race swap, which we didn't quite see over Aidan Carter. Then we've got Andrew Pike P6, Luca Monroe with a decent finish for him in P7, with Ned Wurton P8, Dave Martin P9 and Ben Smith in 10th. Scrolling down, we got George Tyler in 11th with Alistair Pollock, P12. Reich Rayner in P13 with Luke Andrews, Matthew Cheverton, and Lewis Benny rounding out the 16-car finishing order for Pro. Then in AM, it's Matthew Jordan taking the race win here for the second race at Oulton Park. And, well, we've only got 2 more races to go to decide the championship here. It's still looking close between Jordan, between him and Charlecraft, and him and Graveson, although Graveson is losing a good chunk of points coming out of Oulton Park today with a 7th place finish in race number 2 as well. But just recapping the race results, it's Carl Chase in P3 with Matthew Clark in P4, David Bigdyke in P5 with Ashley Toft in P6, Graveson P7 with Seba P8, Andrews in 9th with Byrne in 10th. Then you got Nick Scott in 11th with Roy Weller in 12th with Shiraz Khan in 13th place and Jacob Jenner rounding up the 14-car finishing results for AM. Well, then, we have a champion then. Our first champion has been crowned. We'll have to wait for the final race meeting of the season to see who wins in AM, but I'll drag what is hopefully a very happy chappy into the commentary booth right now. Ewan, you're standing by with Will Eatwell.
Well, yeah, congratulations again, Will, on another race win here tonight. This one felt a little bit more controlled and, dare I say, easier than the last one. Tell us about that race.
Yeah, definitely more controlled. Just trying to make sure I don't overwork the tyres. It's really easy to, I think I said earlier, lock up the rears easily. I just drove around trying to keep them in check and not do anything rash with the traffic. Pretty happy.
And you must be pleased with the season as a whole now. It's 5 on the bounce in the season, and mathematically far enough away from the rest to have won the championship as well. So you must be very pleased with that. Yeah,
really happy. Well, I didn't realise I was that far ahead actually, but super happy to have won the championship now. Looking forward to getting absolutely destroyed in Carrera Cup GB next year.
Well, we look forward to that anyway. Next, but for now, well, congratulations on all of that tonight, and thanks for chatting to us after both races as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks so much. That's Willie. Well, surprisingly unaware that he was so far in front, but there you go. I mean, he was 47 points ahead at the start of the evening, for goodness' sake. It wasn't exactly close.
No, it was not, and has the margin over more than 52 points, obviously, because we have the 2 bonus points to consider for pole position. So pretty much very much sealed at the moment for Will Eatwell. But we was not very much sealed is AM, as we'll bring Matt Jordan down into the commentary booth. And Matt, another fantastic race, sets you up really well for that finale at Brands Hatch. How's the feeling at the moment, and do you feel maybe even a little bit nervous now for that final round of the season, considering how, yes, you had a good result here today, but those drivers behind are still pretty close?
Yeah, thanks guys. I'm really happy with that result, especially after the first race. But yeah, it's going to be really tight going into the last round. I think we're probably close to being even on points actually. But yeah, just gonna, all I can do is try and drive my fastest and try and get a good result.
Yeah, absolutely. This race for you, obviously outside of the initial starts, was relatively uneventful for you. So I'll kind of put that aside for the moment and just sort of focus on next week at Brands Hatch, right? Because that's going to be do or die for you guys. Obviously, the top threes, I would argue, is pretty much sealed in terms of the prizes. But you guys want to finish top of the championship, in the ideal situation, right? So. So how's that mood going into Brands Hatch? Is it a track that you enjoy racing at? Do you think that it's going to be close there and amongst all three of you? What's your opinion at the moment?
Yeah, I think it will be close, as it has been all season. I think qualifying is really important. Again, I think another difficult track to overtake on. Tonight, it was only because Ben made a small mistake that I was able to get side by side, and it's so difficult to pass around here. So I think it'll be similar at Brands. Just got to focus on quali, keep it clean, and hopefully it goes well.
Yeah, hopefully it does, and well, we'll absolutely enjoy seeing you battle it out with Ben and Adam in that final race meeting of the season when we get to it. I imagine you're going to be doing a lot of preparation now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, even more so than I have done for the past few rounds. Yeah, all about practice. So if we nail those quali laps, then the rest will take care of itself, hopefully. But we'll see.
You've hyped up your quali performance now, so if there's anything less than pole position next week, it's going to be disappointing, isn't it?
I know. Well, I was close tonight, only 4,000ths, but there's no guarantee. These guys are really quick.
All right. Okay. We'll see you next week, Matt, and best of luck for it.
Cheers, guys. Thanks very much.
There's Matt Jordan there, race winner for race number 2 here at Oulton Park in the AM category. And I guess we have to keep an eye on this quali next week.
4,000s wasn't close enough, clearly. That's a rubbish attempt, isn't it? 4,000s away, miles away from pole. So, yeah, no, he'll be excited to watch next week, won't he? As will the AM class. Although I can't help but feel it is just between him and Ben Childcraft. Maybe I'm being a little bit harsh, but it might just be between those two now.
Yeah, it might be. I'm remaining optimistic for Adam, given his strong performance early on in the season. But it is looking quite far adrift at the moment. But we will get the opportunity to have a little bit of a chat with another AM driver and the second part of the two that you talked about there. We'll get Ben Childcraft in. You want to stand by with him?
Ben, welcome in again. Another podium tonight. Is this sort of looking back at both races a success for you tonight with 2 podiums? Although, of course, big rival for the championship, Matt Jordan, has taken a win in race number 2 as well. How are you looking back and viewing both races tonight?
Yeah, pretty positive. I had 2 4th places last round, so to come back with a first and a second is pretty good, almost as good as you can get. I think I got the pole and the fastest lap in the second race, so I think. So it's all good points, just a small gain, but it is tight at the top of that championship. But I think I may be secured in the top 3 now, which is nice. And just go for it at Brands Hatch, which is a track that I like.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on the maths, but that does sound about right, that you'll be secure in the top 3. How are you looking forward to Brands Hatch next week? What is your opinion on the circuit in terms of how well you go around there and indeed that points gap, which, as you say, is almost the same, if not slightly smaller than what it was at the start of the day to Matt Jordan?
Yep, it's one of the tracks I enjoy driving around, which is usually an indication of having a bit of success there. I knew Silverstone and Oulton Park I expected to be kind of my weaker rounds. I was hoping Brands would be a strong one. It's a fun track. I like the Grand Prix layout. So I'm hoping to do well there, but we find out when we hit qualifying next week.
We certainly will. We look forward to seeing you there. But for now, Ben, thanks for chatting to us after both races tonight, and congratulations on a double podium for yourself.
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much. That is Ben Childcraft. Double podium, as I say, including a race 1 victory for him tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking fantastic in terms of the fight for AM in the very final round of the season next week. But before we start talking more about that, we'll get Oliver Stone in to the commentary booth. So Oliver, sorry to interrupt your conversation there. You're live on Channel 4. Please do not swear. But obviously the importance of this event for you obviously was keeping yourself in contention for that 3rd place in the championship, right? Which gives you the prize, the experience to go to Porsche at Silverstone. So it looked like you were relatively successful here today. Just take me through your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, quali was great. P3 I was really happy with. And then I had the worst start imaginable and got got done a couple of times, down to 7th, and then I kind of lost my head a bit, and then I went off on my own. I was down to 12th. I finished 7th in the end in race 1, and that was it was an okay recovery, but race 2 I'm really happy with to go from, I think, 7th or 6th to 3rd. Yeah, that is the goal. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because obviously the overall championship is sealed at this point. It is. Yeah. Will Eatwell's over 52 points ahead of McAuliffe coming into the final round. So that's that. But for yourself, obviously, I guess that kind of means there's more focus on your particular battle now, because the championship is the championship position's finished, but yours in and around that 3rd place is isn't. So
yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on, if you're going to have the upper hand really coming into Brands Hatch, because Aiden's pretty strong, Kieran as well. I mean, George had a bit of a issue in that second race, of course, but are you optimistic heading into that final round?
I guess like kind of half and half. Like I do like Brands Hatch, but I know how quick George is, I know how quick Aiden is, and like the rest of them. So it's just about like kind of doing whatever I can do, and whatever happens. I did feel bad for George. Was it George behind me, and he went into the because I think we kind of got robbed of an even better finish, even though Gordon was class as well. I think he was meant to come for the interview, but his PC just crashed. So
I see. I was wondering where he was, because normally they do come in for the interviews, but yeah, it's from what we heard from a similar situation in the AM category, where they do still have a championship battle there. They think qualifying is going to be very, very important for Brands Hatch. Are you of the same opinion in the pro cars?
Yeah, definitely. I think it was the same. It was the same here as well. Because it's just quite narrow, hard to overtake. I think especially in these kind of cars, in the Porsche Cups, there's really not going to be anywhere unless you're like, I reckon, half a second quicker than the car in front to have like a proper go. I don't know. But yeah, it should be good. It should be fun. It should be good viewing, especially with the AM cars kind of throwing in that kind of bit of spice as well. But yeah, it'll be tough for sure.
Yeah, I imagine we'll see one or two lunges down into Druids. I think it's probably... 100%. Probably fair to say, but anyway, I'll let you enjoy the decent performance here today and get yourself, I guess, your preparation sorted for next week at Brands.
Yeah, well, good. I got football now, straight off.
Football straight away.
Yeah,
it's quite late for football, isn't it?
Yeah, 9 till 10. I just want to go to bed.
Right, okay. I'll leave you to it then. Go and enjoy.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
All right, I see. That's Oliver Stone there, continuing on the.
Oh, what's Hugo doing here? Hello, Hugo.
Sorry, continuing on the search there for P3 in the Pro Championship. So it was fantastic for to see that battle still continue on, and of course seeing the AM order being all mixed up and for. Well, we saw 3 or 4 have the chance of the championship today, but obviously I guess that's whittled down to 2 now in the AM category for Brands Hatch. But yeah, it's fantastic it's fantastic to see things still being so close, even though our Pro Order Championship has been sealed.
Yeah, absolutely. So but that was, I guess, expected from tonight. We can't be too disappointed about that from the start of tonight, but. We have a lot to look forward to next week. There it is from Brands Hatch, exactly in 7 days' time, same place, UK time. It's going to be a lot of fun to see. Always enjoy a close championship fight, and we've got maybe 3-ish involved in the AM Championship, so going to be a lot of fun. And I think the third place in Pro is going to be a lot of fun as well. I think that will be actually closer than maybe we're expecting, and we'll maybe give it a little bit more focus as well, as there's no first place to fight for anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. So all eyes on that third place in the championship in Pro, and of course the question marks that still remain in AM for the overall championship there. We are done here at Oulton Park for the penultimate race meeting of the Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge Great Britain, but join us same time, same place next week at Brands Hatch for our finale.